Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining, and welcome to today's webinar from RIZE 3D. My name is Noah Zief, and I'm an applications engineer here at RIZE. And joined with me is David. David, if you can introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is David Silverman. I'm the process development lead here at RIZE, and I was part of the team that helped develop this new extruder upgrade.
Awesome. So today we'll be talking about, as David mentioned, our latest hardware upgrade, our new extruder, our extruder V2, which is for our xRIZE and RIZE 1 machines. And we'll also be giving you a bit of background on our company, our unique technology, and we'll also have time for any questions at the end. So beginning with some company background, we were founded in 2014 in Boston. We shipped our first machine in 2018, so around 4 years in development there. Our founder is a material scientist who's been heavily involved in developing full color technologies and materials for over a decade. Our technical leadership team comes from distinguished 3D companies and backgrounds as well, primarily Z Corp. And together we've developed a unique patented technology, which we call augmented polymer deposition, or APD, which we'll go over in a minute. Our partners include Dassault Systems and Synopsys, both billion-dollar software companies, with Dassault Systems particularly focused on 3D software. And we're especially proud of that partnership because we're actually the first 3D hardware company to land an investment from Dassault. And this has allowed us to gain some very distinguished customers ranging from NASA to the US Army to some well-known universities, some are listed here. And it's also allowed us to gain some industry recognition, most notably for the safety of our materials. In particular, we are the first 3D manufacturer in the world to obtain UL Green Guard certification for our printer, our material, and our inks. So on today's main topic, here's a quick preview comparison of our legacy V1 extruder and our new V2 extruder. The new extruder being much more compact and consolidated. But before we go into the thought process behind the upgraded extruder, we'll go over the quick basics of extrusion technology and our unique spin on the process. So filament extrusion or material extrusion or FFF or FDM are all essentially the same type of additive technology. Material extrusion is actually the most accessible and affordable type of 3D printing in the world. It was developed in the 1980s before it became commercialized in the last decade or so as small desktop machines like the one you see here. Quick walkthrough, it all starts with the spooled filament. The beautiful thing about material extrusion is that the exact amount of material you need is unspooled for each print. So it's a very efficient process. There's no need to fill up entire build volumes or vats like in SLA or SLS or binder jetting. And once you're done with the spool, you can simply unload it. And specifically with our material RIZE spools, you can store them pretty much anywhere. So as the spool is unwound, the film is melted and extruded through a nozzle, layer by layer until your part is built up, often with support. Here you could see the support is designated by the light blue structures, and the model is being represented by the dark blue. And the last step is just to break away those support structures, so you're left with your desired part. So our spin on typical extrusion technology, again, is called APD, for augmented polymer deposition. We refer to it as additive 2.0 because it actually combines two different technologies, material extrusion and ink jetting. The process starts off same as regular extrusion with a layer of support material laid out for any overhangings or a raft. But before we extrude the model material, we actually use 2 out of 6 of our inkjet channels to dispense a release ink. And then we begin extruding the model material. And this layer of release ink in between, it not only helps the breakaway or the support break away easier, but it actually leaves a cleaner surface finish on the model itself. And then we use the remaining 4 inkjet channels to dispense colors similar to those used in paper printing, so cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And we can precisely dispense these inks to mix and match to print in over 800,000 different colors. And the result is strong parts that are easy to post-process, that serve many unique purposes across many industries. So focusing now just on the extrusion part of our technology, our engineering team identified 3 areas that we wanted to improve upon with the new extrusion assembly. They were identified as improved print quality, enhanced reliability, and easier serviceability. So beginning with improved print quality, our new V2 extruder is 20% lighter. And lighter extruders enable printers to start and stop with less force. So you can imagine this extruders going back and forth, extruding filament in 2D patterns over and over again with less weight. Each time the extruder goes back and forth, you're going to have less vibration in the system. And that's good because any one of these vibrations can cause small defects or flaws, and those can translate to defects in your part. So with lighter extruder, we're going to have fewer flaws, we're going to have fewer defects, and you're going to have a better overall surface finish on your part. We also included a more efficient fan duct, which is actually produced via another additive technology, SLS. So yes, our 3D printer does have 3D printed components. This improved fan duct actually does several things for us. It increases airflow, which allows for better layer cooling. And with that, we can print finer details better, we can print overhangs cleaner, and we have, again, an overall smoother surface finish on the part. On to enhanced reliability, we incorporated a more constrained filament path, which makes the filament flow easier. The smaller path also leaves less room for the filament to buckle up anywhere and potentially break. And finally, it gives us the ability to develop filaments that are more difficult to extrude, like flexibles. We also included a dual drive wheel system, which grips the filament from 2 sides. This feature reduces clogging and also improves our hot swap success rate. Hot swap refers to when the printer switches from one spool to another spool during a print. So both the xRIZE and RIZE1 have 2 filament slots. So the printer can autonomously start printing with the second spool once the first spool runs out. And finally, we enhanced reliability with more durable nozzle material. We incorporated a higher grade of hardened steel, which is actually meant to last the lifetime of the printer. And this was especially important for these machines because they primarily are meant to print with glass-filled and carbon fiber composites, which can wear down standard nozzles pretty quickly. And finally, on to serviceability. In general, the V2 extruder solves many of the root causes of clogging, but in the rare case of a clog, our upgraded toolkit was developed to eliminate extruder disassembly. So the new clogging tool can be inserted directly into the extruder to clear up any debris. You won't have to take apart the extruder and clean individual parts. It's a much easier and streamlined process. We also made servicing the extruder much quicker with a more accessible tensioner. So you can manually insert and remove filament much easier. Further, with the more efficient design of the extruder, it heats up 20% quicker. So any servicing tasks you have to perform just can be done that much faster. So with our goals laid out, here's a bit more information on the components we use to accomplish them. Here we went with some of the most trusted companies in the 3D community. These components have been thoroughly tested not only on our machine, but on many machines around the globe. Beginning with our drive system, we went with the Bondtech extruder drive system. This gives us those dual drive wheels, which grip the filament from 2 sides. And specifically with this drive system, it has a 3-to-1 gear ratio, which not only reduces weight to help with print quality, but it also maximizes torque to reduce any clogging that can occur. Our hot end is the Mosquito hot end from Slice Engineering. Its compact design helps with weight reduction and print quality, but even with being compact as it is extremely efficient at reducing heat creep. Heat creep being when your filament starts to melt too much before it's extruded, which can lead to clogging. So the hot end's efficiency is also allows for a lower retraction as well to optimize printing speeds. And finally, to our nozzle, we upgraded to a vanadium nozzle, also from Slice Engineering. This part gives us that 65 rating on the hardness Rockwell scale, which is expected to hold up to composites for the lifetime of the printer. It also has a plastic repellent coating on the inside to help reduce any debris buildup. And with that, I will now pass over to Dave, who will dive even deeper into this upgrade, how it was developed, and how you can upgrade from our legacy extruder.
Thanks, Noah. So just want to give you guys a little bit of background on the development of this. So just kind of a fun fact I thought we'd share is that this was prototyped, during COVID. So it was right when we all went home. So you can see on the right-hand side of the screen here, we were actually able to use the RIZE printers to develop this technology. You can see these are many iterations rather of our fan duct. And on the bottom right hand, 10.6, I think it says, that's almost exactly what we're shipping. So we're able to do a lot of that just, using our own additive technology, which is always a good feeling. In terms of development, as Noah mentioned, we work, very closely with the technical teams at both Bondtech and Slice Engineering. They have a strategic partnership, so they're very happy to help integrate with us, and couldn't have done it without their help. But we did, once we'd worked with them and figured it out, we did an in-house beta and then a customer beta. So we've printed hundreds of spools across 15 or more machines, both in-house and at customer sites, to make sure that this is reliable, reduces clogging and gets that better surface finish that we've been touting. And finally, there are new print parameters that are optimized specifically for this extrusion system. So, it has different characteristics. It's got a different filament path, a different melt zone. So that's going to change the way that the system performs. So now we have some new settings for that, and working with our software and firmware team, it's a seamless transition for the customer. You don't have to worry about changing settings in the slicer. As long as you have, the most up-to-date version of the software, the jobs are universal. So it holds the settings for both the new and the old extruder. So it's quite seamless in that regard. Moving on to the next slide, we want to talk a little bit about what the upgrade process looks like. So as Noah mentioned, this is available for xRIZE and RIZE 1. So if you buy an xRIZE right now, it's going to come with it. So if you're a new customer just learning about us and you want to get an xRIZE, these are just some new features that we've been working on that are baked in. However, if you're an existing xRIZE or RIZE 1 customer, we offer this upgrade kit. So we're just going to kind of walk through that process. So items 1 and 2 here, we've talked about already. It's the hot block and blower and the drive. So that's the actual extruder itself. And the rest is, accessories in the toolkit. So number 3 is the tube guide. That just gives the tube that feeds the filament a nice consistent bend radius into this new extruder. We have the unclogging tool that we mentioned before, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. 5 and 6, we have a T8 and T10 Torx screwdrivers. So that's to install these into your machine. We have a tension spacer. So there's you can adjust the tension on the extruder. Right now we only have one tension that we use, but in the future, if we come out with other materials and we want to be able to provide a different tension, we can give you just the spacer to print to ensure that you're applying the right amount of force onto the filament as you feed it. And again, if you ever have to disassemble the extruder for servicing, you'll be confident that you're setting it back to the factory setting, because you'll be able to put that spacer in to tighten it back down. Number 8, we have the hot block cover. So this is an existing feature. We've just modified it to fit the new geometry. And finally comes the flash drive. That'll have the most up-to-date firmware in case you have a very old machine. and it also has a PDF of the instructions. So we have a printout, or excuse me, a PDF instruction, and then we also have a video companion, and there's also a link to that on our website. So moving along here, as I mentioned, we do have this whole V1 to V2 upgrade process. You can see this is a screenshot of the companion video we have. So on the left-hand side, we have one of our engineers actually performing it, so you can see exactly what's happening. On the right-hand side, it pops up with the written instructions. So you can see at the bottom, we have a link to this on our support site. I think the video for the upgrade is about 5 or 6 minutes. If you've, our engineers are pretty fast at it because we've been doing it for a while. But if you're doing it, it won't take particularly long. Definitely under half an hour. Just follow the instructions and pay attention, and it's pretty smooth. That was a big part of our customer beta testing. We wanted to make sure that not only it performed the way we wanted, but that customers could do it themselves. Especially during COVID, it's tough to get technicians into customer sites. So one, it just eliminates that, and two, it actually saves on the money. You don't have to pay a tech to come out and do it. So that was a big goal, just to make it user upgradable, and it most certainly is. And then the other procedure we were mentioning was unclogging. So yeah, in the rare event that it does happen, all you have to really do is pull the lever back and push the tool into the extruder. It bypasses the drive wheels and goes through the hot end and right into the nozzle. And if there's some kind of blockage, it'll eject it. So it's very straightforward. Again, we have a companion video for this on our website that just would clear anything up. We don't want anyone damaging anything. So we try to make this as as streamlined and easy as possible for our customers. This is definitely a quality of life and upgrade for existing customers. So we've talked a little bit about some of the features, but just to kind of drive it home, why would you want to upgrade? First off, enhanced print quality, reliability, and serviceability. We've hit on all of those. The other things that we haven't talked about, though, is going to be access to improved material profiles. So as our existing customers know, we periodically update our software. Part of those updates include toolpath optimizations and print quality optimizations. So going forward, all print quality optimizations are only going to be for the V2 extruder. That's just to ensure that we're spending our engineering hours on the right things. This has a baseline better print quality, but it can continue to get better, and we're just focusing on this new product going forward. In the same vein, it's the ability for new materials as they're released. So not just new profiles, but we do have a number of new materials for the xRIZE platform in development right now, and those will be tested and optimized on the new extruder, so they will only work on that. And finally, just in general, not just in the if you have a V1 extruder, you can slice things and it'll keep printing. We're not going to totally lock your printer out of using existing materials that we know it works with. But in terms of new settings, and then also servicing, we're not going to be servicing the old extruder anymore. We're not carrying the parts. If you have an issue with your old extruder, we're going to steer you to our new platform, not just because it's going to work better, but that's just the parts that we're keeping stock of. So now that we've covered why, next question is how. So option one, this is for this is all for existing customers for upgrading, obviously. So if you're under warranty, this is an included upgrade. So all you have to do is just contact customer support, and they'll get you set up and ship you out an upgrade kit. Option two, if you are not under warranty, we would recommend that you renew your warranty. With this new extruder, we're expecting that you're going to be printing a lot more. And so this is going to cover all parts, including any future hardware upgrades and labor if you have someone come to upgrade your machine. So here are the prices. So $3,600 for RIZE 1, $4,500 for xRIZE. And I can just say that, that if anything happens, like a print head, for example, that's gonna, between the print head and an extruder, those pretty much pay for themselves. So it's definitely good insurance to have, having that warranty. But if budgets are tight, or you're in a big institution where it could be tough to get something like that approved, we do offer this as a standalone purchase. So whether it's xRIZE or RIZE 1, it's $1,500. And again, if you have any questions about this, if you need a quote, you need to place an order, or if you just want to understand your machine's warranty status, please email support@rize3d.com. There are our support team is the one-stop shop for this upgrade. They have all the information you'll need. So that's all the information we have for you guys. I know it's a lot of information, and I'd like to take this time now to open the floor up to questions from the audience.
Awesome, thank you, David. So yeah, as David mentioned, if anyone has any questions, please write them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. I'll start it off here. Some questions. What tools do you need for this for this upgrade? As David mentioned, all the tools you're going to need are included in the kit. So it's not like you're going to have to buy anything separately. Another question we had prepared was, how long does this typically take to upgrade? As David mentioned, if you're an engineer, you're used to this, so it happens pretty quickly, but we say standard 20 minutes. If anyone has...
And then just jumping off of that, so it's 20 minutes hands-on, and then, once you get it in the machine, there's a couple calibrations you have to do. So, once you get all of those done, it's probably about half a day, all told. So, existing customers are going to know, recognize this. This is a print head alignment. So once you replace this in there, you need to make sure it lines up with your print heads. So, once you've performed all of that, probably about a morning, if you start in the morning, be printing by the end of the day.
I'm not seeing any more questions here in the chat. Another thing I will mention in regards to our extruder, something we are in development of is a 0.125 millimeter layer height, which is only going to be accessible on the V2 extruder. So if you want access to that increase in print quality, you definitely want to upgrade to that new extruder.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's being optimized on, and that's where it'll print best anyway. Yeah, I think, as a 3D printer user, this has just been, going from the V1 extruder to the V2, it's just a much more pleasant experience. Just working on the extruder, and then also even just printing. We're printing all the time here at RIZE, and just having just that extra level of confidence that your part's going to come out well, and it's going to come out. We did have some quality issues in the past. The V1 extruder was engineered a long time ago for a certain set of materials, and so this just opens us up to, to go to the future. So not only is it going to, improve your experience right now, but it's going to help future-proof the machine a little bit too. And I think you'll really enjoy using it. Like I said, if you're under warranty, it's a no-brainer. It's going to make everything, so much easier for you.
So I do have a question here, David. Maybe you could shed some light on this. Tom is looking to see the difference in the surface finish between the V1 and V2 extruder with the same geometry.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have a part here, but I can, yeah, I'm at home right now, but I can probably follow up on that. I can say just specifically where it's going to show up. Supported features, you're going to see a better surface quality. So like, like less sagging and more cohesive surface on supported features, especially curved ones. So like if you've got like a cup shaped thing, that's like a big improvement from this extruder. And then also just side walls, especially around corners. There's going to be less bulging and less ringing on those surfaces. I don't have any parts with me here, unfortunately.
Okay, I did make a note here, Tom. I will try and see if we get any pictures to follow up with that. It looks like he had another question as well. Ballpark price on the RIZE 1.
So the RIZE 1 is we're not selling as much of right now. It's more of a legacy product. Not really sure on our inventory situation, but you can email, I believe, sales@rize3d.com, and they'll help you with that. If I can just ask, are you not interested in the full color? Is that why you're interested in the RIZE 1, or do you need an explanation of the difference between them?
I will.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, if you could type in the chat, Tom, with your answer, we get your response there.
Yeah, but if you contact sales at RIZE3D, they'll definitely help you with that.
Here's another question also from Tom as well. Is
Awesome.
the printhead that does the quick release ink also used on the 2XC and 7XC machines? So I can actually take that. This Cindo machines are dual extrusion, so the support there is an entirely different material, so there is no release inks between the support and models. So if anyone has any questions, again, please write in the chat. Once, going twice. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you learned a little bit more about our newest upgrade. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. You could contact us again at support@rize3d, or you could reach out to us individually. We will have another webinar in the coming weeks focused on our technology. So feel free to stay tuned, and we'll get you some more information on that. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.